Previously on F1 25 Driver Career Mode. Go out and away we go, leading the field from Lando Norris to George Russell to Max Verstappen, who has gotten past Oscar Piastri. Verstappen, so much room round the outside as he looks to go around Lando Norris. This is an absolute nightmare scenario for Aston Martin, as Max Verstappen is a man on the mission as he overtakes Lando Norris. Max Verstappen, on the soft tyres no less, is in P2, and this Constructors' Championship is not over yet. We're just trying everything we can to break the toe. Lando Norris not that far behind. Max Verstappen's going to be coming under some pressure as we head down into turn one. Max Verstappen's going to try and dive down the inside. Oh my god, it has lost it! Max Verstappen crashes into us. There's contact and he smashes completely into the wall. Max Verstappen all the way down the order in P16 now. How on earth did that happen? It looks as though he got hit with a whiff of dirty air from our car and just completely lost it, made contact with us, and that is huge. That is going to have gigantic repercussions for the championship. Celebrating another win as we take the win in a pretty challenging Qatar Grand Prix, fully deserved, but with both McLarens landing on the podium, that's going to make the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix all the more important as we are looking at a three-way championship fight in the final race of the season. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sly Jordy, and welcome back to some more F1 25 Driver Career Mode for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix season finale for season 2. And if you missed the last couple of episodes, well, the Constructors' Championship is really heating up. We are just 1 point ahead of McLaren, with Ferrari not too far behind. And we have already secured the Drivers' Championship. So it is all down to the wire. A three-way matchup between ourselves, McLaren and Ferrari. Verstappen had a torrid timeout last time out. He still managed to get a P10 out of it, though. But of course, as you guys must have seen from the intro, Verstappen, a huge collision with us. And yeah, that was pretty much all done from there. It was a recovery drive for Ferrari in general. They were just not having a very good weekend in Qatar. McLaren had a dream weekend in Qatar. Norris winning the sprint, of course, and then a double podium for both himself and Oscar Piastri. So it all comes down to the wire between ourselves and the other two teams. Who is going to come out on top in Abu Dhabi as Constructors' Champions? I don't really feel like it's going to be us. We might be a point ahead, but yeah, if Ferrari and McLaren get a half decent result in, it doesn't matter if we win or not. Yeah, we're going to have a torrid time of it. So we've really got to hope that Fernando Alonso is on his A game, and more so, we've got to hope that his car is on his A game. But we do have an upgrade coming in, the wing mirrors, so that's a little bit of a boost to the aerodynamics, of course, as we head on over to the Yas Marina circuit. I've got a little bit of an announcement to make, and that is this will be the final episode in the series that will be recorded and edited, and the future episodes from now on will be live streamed. Another announcement will be that this is the last episode for the year. That is right. I'm not going to be doing another episode of Driver Career Mode until January, the new year. So yeah, I feel like the series needs a little bit of a break. I feel like we could use a little bit of a refresher before going into the live streamed portion of the series, and it allows me to reevaluate what I really want to do in terms of recorded and edited content on the channel. I also, you know, I might want to do my team as well. We've only ever done one episode of that, and you know, there's a ton of new content there that I just haven't explored at all, because I've just been more interested in myself as a driver versus just a team. But we could definitely have a proper look at it. But as we go into this weekend, let's have a look at our car right now in terms of all the parts. I guess the energy store is getting pretty high, but to be fair, we don't really need to replace the energy store all that often. Everything else seems to be totally fine. We could put in a new turbocharger for the weekend since it's nearly 50%. So, yeah, we're going to put in a new one. We could honestly put in a new thing for everything, but everything else just really isn't worn enough to even necessitate it. So, we'll put in a new turbocharger for this final race. Looking at the progress history now, it looks as though ourselves, I think Williams and Haas, Sauber and VCarb might be... Oh no, VCarb haven't done anything. So ourselves, Williams, Haas and Sauber might be the only teams bringing any sort of upgrades into this weekend. I don't know if that the wing mirror upgrade will give us an edge, but we'll have to find out. We're on a pretty good run of form right now. P1 in both Vegas and Qatar. Could have gotten a better result in Brazil, but I wanted to secure a strong result for Alonso. In hindsight, maybe I could have overtaken him, and you know, we would have been fine if I'd have just gone to chase down the likes of Leclerc, for example. We would absolutely be further ahead. Who knows? But yeah, we've got parts coming in, but these are for after the season. Of course, season 3, we're going to be carrying over a lot of the upgrades from this season. So no big regulation changes, no R&D scenario, other than balancing out the field, which I feel like will be very, very interesting. There will be driver moves happening as well. If we go back to... oh, it's not on my emails anymore, but we know Yuki Tsunoda's seat at Red Bull is under threat. And I've actually turned on certain driver icons, you know, ready to come into the sport after this season. So that will be interesting to see, because some of them are pretty high overall. No one unrealistic, but I think it's going to be really interesting should we see either one of them in the sport from now on. But of course, Red Bull, really bad season for them. Of course, they are 6th in the constructors standings, a huge drop off after the previous season, and so they'll be looking to make a change. Of course, Colapinto is new. Tsunoda, they feel like, should be doing a lot better, so his seat is under threat. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens from here on out. We already had a really interesting move with Verstappen going to Ferrari, of course, so you know, we'll see if we get any more big changes after this season. But that's pretty much all I've got to say. Not too much else to cover in the intro. Let's get into qualifying for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix one more time.
Welcome along, everybody. It's the fastest day of the week, qualifying Saturday, and we're here in Abu Dhabi.
And what a last couple of weeks it has been in real life. Of course, Lando Norris, right here in Abu Dhabi, was crowned champion of the world in Formula One. My opinion on it, to be honest, I don't think he deserved it. Neither did Oscar Piastri, in my opinion. I think the real champion, let's be real, was Max Verstappen. You know, coming back from 100 points down to be able to finish that close to winning the championship. For me, it's a no-brainer. Verstappen is the real winner here, and Norris or Piastri winning it at this stage would have just been pure luck. But yeah, it is what it is. I'm looking forward to the new season in 2026, and yeah, let's focus on our own qualifying session right here at F125, as we receive a little bit of dirty air from Oscar Piastri. Either that, or I was a bit... I lost my focus a little bit with him being there. Either way, this first lap wasn't exactly the greatest, but we did manage to make up for it a little bit in Sector 2, setting a purple sector, of course, and a pretty good feeling Sector 3 as we now come round the final corner. As you can probably tell, our energy store is quite worn, a lot more worn than I really thought it might be. We're actually down 10%. The Red Bulls looking pretty good. Quite interesting to see where they end up in Season 3. We've got Oliver Behrman quite high up as well. Jack Doohan in the Alpine. It's really interesting. And of course, like I said earlier on this episode, the R&D modifier, R&D scenario that we're going to have in Season 3 is going to be balancing out the field. So that's definitely going to be a really interesting one as we get this first lap underway. A little bit slower, a 10th down actually, but this you know, corner right here, we gain a lot of time, that is for sure. But we still were a 10th down heading into that corner, so we do have some work to do. I didn't want to use as much ERS in the first sector, and maybe I should have used a little bit more, I don't know. But so far, it's not looking great as we now enter Sector 3, or about to enter Sector 3, of course. It's still not looking good, nearly a 10th down, continuously losing speed. So, yeah, not looking good at all. This Sector 3 is going to have to be absolutely fantastic, and that is a perfect left-hander for us right now, gaining a 10th and then some as we now come into the slow speed hotel section. I'm pretty sure this is a hotel section, right? As we stay above a 10th, so a pretty good Sector 3, managing to save our lap a little bit there, but I can't help but think we could have gone a lot faster, especially since Oscar Piastri just set the fastest lap. What do we get at the end of that? It is a P6, so a little bit better than I thought it might be after that lap, but yeah, definitely one where we could have done a lot better, as both Ferraris and McLarens are ahead of us, and unfortunately Alonso does his typical thing and underperforms. I don't know what it is about Alonso's AI in this game, particularly this season, but yeah, I think the Constructors' Championship might be all but over, but it's only over when the finish line is crossed.
It's time then for one final race in this year's Formula One World Championship. 2010 saw 4 drivers in contention for the title coming into this race, with Sebastian Vettel prevailing to become the youngest world champion to date. Is there one last sting in the tail awaiting us today? Well, it's time to find out, here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The Yas Marina circuit is made up of 3.28 miles of track, featuring 16 corners with 2 very long straights. DRS zones going into the heavy braking zones of both Turn 5 and Turn 7 offer plenty of potential for overtaking. The circuit comes with its fair share of tricky corners, which will certainly test a driver's braking management. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Sainz, the rookie, and Tsunoda, Behrman, Ocon, Albon, and Jack Doohan, Bortoletto, Stroll, George Russell, and Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Hülkenberg, Franco Colapinto, and Isaac Hadjar. Verstappen and Andrea Kimi Antonelli rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. And alongside me today, a man who I'm always pleased to see join me in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. What a day this could be today. A day of days, but for who? The title awaits one of our drivers. And what a season it's been.
Comes down to this, doesn't it, Crofty? This one moment, the final race of the year. It's been a hard-fought season. You're in the mix. You're in the fight for the Drivers' World title. Comes down to this moment. You've got to deliver when it absolutely counts.
If you go away from this weekend having not given it everything, you're going to be devastated and disappointed for months. So let's get out there and give it a really strong finish and leave it all out on the track.
Well, we might have been given a lifeline to get towards that, as Max Verstappen has taken a penalty. He will be all the way down behind Fernando Alonso, so at least that's one Ferrari out of the way. Honestly, I would have preferred a McLaren. As it stands right now, McLaren will win the Constructors' Championship quite easily, but they are just ahead of us. Leclerc is up there too, and Carlos Sainz is a fun little opponent to be there as well. Yuki Tsunoda and Oliver Behrman not far behind us as we now wait for the 5 red lights to go out, and away we go. Oscar Piastri moves to cut off Charles Leclerc as the two of them look to do battle into turn 1, and we get past Carlos Sainz, looking to go around the outside of Lando Norris right there, just about having enough space to get through side by side with our fellow British compatriot, the in real life Drivers' Champion, and looks as though we might be able to get ahead. Lando Norris, yeah, not able to fight too much alongside us. That's P3 gained for us, 2 positions gained in this first lap as we now look to catch up to the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, still chasing down Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris looking to fight back against us side by side now, going into the chicane. We've got the inside, which means we've got the advantage, and we remain out in front. So, pretty good start for us. Not a dream start, of course. McLaren, as it stands, still have this Constructors' Championship all sewn up. Fernando Alonso down in P15. Verstappen down in P18. So Verstappen's actually lost a couple of positions, I think. Colapinto also taking a grid penalty, unfortunately. But yeah, I'll be keeping a close eye on Red Bull. They've definitely become one of the more interesting teams this season, along with Williams and Haas, of course. Hopefully, Racing Bulls and Kick Sauber are able to make some big gains in Season 3. I am so excited for that season, that is for sure. But a pretty good lap for us in P3. We've not managed to gain that much on the cars ahead, though, and we might still have to withstand a challenge from the McLaren of Lando Norris. As, yeah, we continue this, and we're on 50% battery. We're going to have to do a little bit more saving now as we look to go onto the main straight, following Charles Leclerc, and this time we will have some DRS to help us. So even though Norris is definitely going to start challenging us with this DRS, it's going to remain a lot easier to stay ahead of him. So I'm able to actually save a little bit of battery as we get closer and closer towards Leclerc, braking a little bit later and getting right up the back of the Ferrari. So we got another opportunity here to perhaps make a pass as we look to gain even more. Leclerc not gaining on Piastri at all. This could be a good opportunity for us. Diving down the inside in the left-hander right here. A purple second sector. We are the quickest in this particular part of the track. And that was a beautiful move right there. Exactly what we needed, but unfortunately I'm not able to gain on Oscar Piastri at all. He seems to be on really good form with a really good car, and yeah, we are now a sitting duck down this straight as Charles Leclerc makes an easy pass, a repass for P2. So far it's not looking too good. As much as I would like for Aston Martin to win the Constructors' Championship, it might have to wait until next season, but we can still fight for ourselves. We can still come out of this race on top. We are the Drivers' Champion already, and it would be nice to cement that with a win here in Abu Dhabi, but it's not looking too good. We've already lost out to Leclerc. We're struggling with our battery, of course, 10% lower than the rest of the grid, and having to fend off Lando Norris in the McLaren once more. Oliver Behrman in P5 in the Haas. Another surprise result for the Haas team. Haas definitely very, very interesting, to be quite honest. The most interesting team besides Red Bull. I'm really excited to see what happens with them in Season 3, as once again we're on another lap now. Lap 5, trying to catch up to Charles Leclerc. Lando Norris, it's only a matter of time before he does overtake us as Charles Leclerc spins it! Charles Leclerc has lost it! Oh my god! I cannot believe, under no pressure whatsoever, Charles Leclerc completely loses it, and that just encapsulates Ferrari's entire season. Clearly the best car on the grid for the majority of the season, but they just continuously make mistake after mistake, allowing the likes of ourselves and especially McLaren to capitalize. McLaren finally getting their inconsistency out of the way. But yeah, this basically finishes Ferrari's season. They are officially out of the Constructors' Championship, barring a safety car intervention, of course. And now we lose the position to Lando Norris, so that's us down to P3. This will be our pit lap, of course, so I'm not too fussed about it. I don't know the strategy that everybody else is going for. Look at how good Haas are doing. P6 and P7 right there. Yuki Tsunoda, definitely a man under pressure as we look to come back at Lando Norris. A beautiful overtake around the outside. Not that it really necessarily matters. Again, we are pitting this lap, but yeah, again, Yuki Tsunoda, a result that he desperately needs. Of course, we know, judging from our emails, there are rampant rumors that Yuki Tsunoda will be kicked out of the Red Bull seat. And speaking of Yuki Tsunoda, he has been kicked out of the Red Bull seat in real life. So that might have been an omen for our career mode, of course. It's not deserved. I wish Yuki would still be on the grid. Hopefully we can sign him for my team, of course. I still want to do the my team season. So if we get round to doing a second season, hopefully we can sign Yuki Tsunoda from Red Bull. I highly doubt it, though, but we'll see as we look to pit onto another set of mediums, looking for a two-stop right here. and we're going to have some serious pace on us, especially if there are drivers going for a one-stop. We've seen it multiple times this season. Our car has never been the greatest in terms of chassis. We have improved it, but yeah, as you could tell from earlier, it was the team that told me to come in, so I'm going to trust them. And we come out into P15 just ahead of the Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli, looking to chase down the man that we swapped seats with, Lance Stroll, in the Racing Bull. And by the end of that straight, we actually managed to catch up to him. We're making up so much time in the corners, in fact, that, yeah, Lance Stroll doesn't stand a chance in this next section as we get closer and closer, gaining more and more, looking to go around the outside, a copycat move to what we did to Lando Norris, and that is P14 gain for us. We've got a lot of traffic to get through, and fingers crossed there might be a safety car or something again. I think these other drivers are all going for a one-stop because, as you will see, nobody will be pitting as Gabriel Bortoleto slows us up, but he loses the back end a little bit on the outside of that corner, or on the exit of that corner rather, and there is a bit of an unorthodox overtake. Since when do you see people overtake in that particular section? We're only able to do that because of the amount of grip that we do have. There are some drivers that are pitting. Sainz, for example, went on to the hards, so we're going to see a mix of some stuff as we outbrake ourselves a little bit, but it does allow us to go round the outside of the Mercedes of George Russell. So, yeah, really good overtake of a really good driver here, and now we've got a familiar face in the Ferrari of Max Verstappen. And we're going to dive down the inside right here because we've just got so much grip. I feel so confident with these tyres. Now looking to gain P6 on Alex Albon, and maybe with these overtakes we can slow these cars up and help Fernando Alonso, who is up in P5 currently right now. Leclerc in P4, still out. So strange for a man to nearly spin out and lose control of the car and stay out on those same set of tyres and not change or anything. Yeah, Leclerc is still on those same set of tyres. The McLarens, 1-2, still out as well. So we're going to be on the back foot in the final stint, having to come through traffic again, unless a safety car comes into play as we go around the outside of Leclerc. He makes that extremely easy. These cars having to brake earlier and earlier the longer they stay out. So that is P3 once again gained for us, but that might be the peak of our powers as we fast forward now to lap 17. The McLarens have already pit, and Piastri is only 6 seconds behind us with that pit. So, yeah, this is basically all we could do at the end of the day. It's a P3. Fernando Alonso is up in P7. I don't know where he's going to end up by the end of it, but yeah. You can probably tell the Constructors' Championship is already over. It was very, very exciting going into it, but it was kind of over by, you know, the time the race was about to start. And to make matters worse, the pit crew struggles to get the front left off, and we're losing even more time. So we might not even get a podium this time. That is just absolutely wonderful. Season 3 cannot come soon enough. With, you know, the grid being balanced out, it's going to be a lot more down to driver stats than the car itself, and we'll get to equal performance eventually. So, yeah, it could be very, very interesting. I will also be turning the difficulty up slightly. I think we're at 102 right now, which seems to be about our level, but I feel like we could push for 104. So that's what we're going to go with for Season 3. We might be worse at first because where our Aston Martin is, but yeah, eventually, again, the grid will balance out, and focusing on the gameplay again here, Alonso lets us pass. There's no point fighting us at all. We've got a lot more points to fight for, of course. So, yeah, back into P6, looking to chase down the Williams of Carlos Sainz. Oliver Behrman in the Haas, high flying in P4. That is beautiful. I think he is still yet to pit, though. Same with Sainz. These guys went on the hard, so I think they'll be going on the mediums next up. But, yeah, we're right up the chaff of Carlos Sainz here. We're going to dive down the inside once again in an unorthodox position, but that's only because the amount of grip that we have on the entry and the exit of each corner just allows us to catch up to these cars so much easier. And yeah, now the next one we've got to chase is the Haas of Oliver Behrman, and then the Red Bull of Yuki Tsunoda. And coming out of the chicane here, look at how much we are catching up. Oliver Behrman barely keeping control of the car. Those are, what, 10-lap-old hard tyres at this point versus our 3-lap-old, 2-lap-old, I don't know, man. But diving down the inside, very, very easy overtake. And that might be our race over. I'm pretty sure Yuki Tsunoda is going to be pitting still, so we don't have to worry about catching up to him. But the McLarens are miles ahead, able to make the one-stop work. But even if we'd have won the race, the constructors would not have happened on our end, unfortunately. It's just like Qatar, really. McLaren just gained so many points, are so consistent between each other that it really doesn't matter in the end. So, yeah. Alonso also pits. I don't know where he's going to finish. Looking at the last lap now, it seems as though he's finishing just outside the points. Oliver Behrman will be scoring points in P9. He's just been overtaken by Antonelli, unfortunately, but he is still there. Ocon overtakes Alonso as Oscar Piastri comes round the final corner to take the final win of the season. A very dominant win as McLaren clinch the Constructors' Championship. Lando comes home in P2. A really good race for Red Bull as well. Yuki Tsunoda P5, Colapinto P8, and for us, a P3. A strong result for the final race of the season where we won our first Drivers' Championship. But in terms of the Constructors, we're going to have to look forward and wait a little longer for Season 3.
Oscar Piastri, take a bow. What a performance. What a win.
They've won the championship, and now they sign off in style as winning the last race of the season as well. Brilliant stuff by this driver today, and you carry that momentum through to next year as well, of course. So it's for all now to try and stop what they've created.
What a day it's been for Formula One, and what a day it's been for these three drivers. Time for the podium celebrations. Time for our drivers to celebrate. And your winner today, the man from down under. Congratulations, Oscar Piastri.
Well, like I said, a pretty dominant win, a 1-2 for McLaren as they easily clinched the Constructors' Championship if the last couple of races or anything to go by. Yeah, just everybody else other than me was just inconsistent throughout the whole season, and I was able to carry the team. And, you know, I was relying on Alonso to maybe pick up some slack, but around the same time, particularly Qatar, McLaren finally snapped out of the inconsistency and, made it look easy by the end. If it weren't for that, we would have actually won the Constructors 1 point ahead of Ferrari, but ended up being 27 points behind McLaren, which doesn't really tell the story of the season, but it does tell the story of the last couple of races. McLaren, like I said, snapping out of the inconsistency, whereas myself, or rather ourselves and Ferrari just remained inconsistent. In fact, Ferrari just got worse in those last few races. Leclerc DNFing in Vegas, Verstappen crashing out in Qatar, Leclerc spinning out here in Abu Dhabi. Just an absolute nightmare for Ferrari, and they'll just be glad that the season is over. And speaking of the end of the season, of course, we are re-signing with Aston Martin. We did already sign on for 2 seasons, so I don't know why this contract cutscene is even happening. I think it's literally just to set a target rating, and that's about it. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be doing past Season 3, but for now, we are sticking with Aston Martin, and hopefully, with the grid being balanced out in Season 3, Fernando Alonso will be able to have a much easier time to pick up points with his overall rating, and of course ourselves will be gunning for the Drivers' Championship again, hopefully, unless the car is really bad at the beginning of the season. But it's just these cars carrying on, so I don't think we'll have an issue. Guys, thank you all so much for watching this episode of F125 Driver Career. If you guys liked it, be sure to hit that like button as hard as you possibly can, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next year for Season 3 and more F125. Until next time, peace.